Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Gayatri. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. Hope you have a wonderful year ahead. Today I have a card for Simon Says Stamp, You Are Loved Collection Release Blog Hop. This hop is a 2-day event. Yesterday was day 1 and today is day 2. Getting into the project I made for the blog hop, I'm using the new Outline Clustered Leaves die. Simon previously released Clustered Leaves die, one of my favorite die, and I'm so thrilled to see this new outline die released this collection. They both are big and same in terms of dimension. You can layer the outline die over the solid die. Perfect, and I love that. But today I will be layering them randomly, not perfectly on top of each other. I used the clustered leaves die to die cut a couple of vellum pieces. I wanted 3 colored outline cluster leaves. For that, I am using 3 Simon Says Stamp die inks. They are Mint Candy, Sunshine, and Hollyhocks. I switched the Hollyhocks to Teeny Bikini die ink later because I wanted a more orangish coral color rather than a pinkish coral color. I sponged these inks using my makeup brush. This brush is awesome, not just for applying foundation and concealer, but also to sponge inks on cardstock. I am using Nina Sola White heavyweight cardstock here. This brush gives the smooth, soft wash in the beginning, depending on how much pressure you put on the sponge. I use a very light hand because I want to build the color, and also this also helps with my wrist and elbow pain. The heavier I sponge, the patchier the ink goes on the cardstock, and my carpal tunnel syndrome flares up. Always use a light hand when sponging inks, everybody. Anyway, you can see I start with a very light wash of color and build on the color saturation by layering it. I stop when I'm happy with the intensity of the color I want. Then I clean my brush by rubbing the brush on the damp baby wipe. You can use a microfiber cloth as well. No need to wash the brush between the colors. Then I move on to the next color. I start with the Hollyhocks. This is when I actually realize I want a warm coral color rather than a cool coral color. So I switch to Teeny Bikini dye ink instead. You can see there's a little bit of splotchiness on this color as well as the yellow color, which you will see later. That is because the Simon Says Stamp ink does stamp and sponge a bit splotchy. But in just a few minutes, when the ink dries, the color smooths and even out. The coral and the yellow colors are still wet and hence splotchy. So do not worry if you see a bit of unevenness of the color when sponging large areas. Now I have all these colors sponged on my cardstock and ready to go. I will die cut the outline clustered leaves using these cardstocks out of camera and we will be back. Now here are all the colored outline clustered leaves and the negatives. I'm saving the negative pieces to be used on the card also. I rub my fingers on the die cuts to smooth out the even edges if there are any stray fibers. I put these aside now and work on my sentiments. I am using the new Ornate Love stamp set and the coordinating dies for the sentiment. I stamped the large ornate heart image from the stamp set on white cardstock using Simon's Fog ink. Then the ornate love sentiment using the same colors of Simon inks I used on this card previously. But if you've seen the card in the beginning of the video, you would have noticed I have used another sentiment from the same stamp set. Yes, once again I changed my mind when I went to adhere everything together. But you will see me stamping the ornate love in the colors and die cutting them, stacking and gluing them with the extra pieces for dimension and all of that. To assemble the card, I have a white Nina Solar white panel, the heavyweight 110-pound cardstock, which is trimmed to 4 by 5¼ inch. Then I cut all the clustered and outline clustered leaves die cuts in half. These die cuts are large. They extend beyond the standard card size, and I don't want them hanging out very much. Hence, I decided I will cut them in half and then layer them. I start with the vellum layer first, then I follow it up with the 3 colored outline die cuts, one over the other. A few more vellum die cuts tucked between them to give a fuller feel, followed by the large heart shape, then the sentiment on top. There are several layers here, but most of which will be glued to the card so the card doesn't end up being very bulky. I am going to save you the pain of watching me glue all these layers down. So I edited them all out, and here I have the glued version of the panel. So in this panel you can see I changed the sentiment from the Ornate Love to Love You, which is also from the same stamp set. All the clustered leaves die cut are glued down directly on the panel. The heart die cut is foam mounted and the sentiment is stacked and glued for a little bit of dimension. I also randomly adhered the negative pieces that I saved from the die cutting of the outline clustered leaves here to give a little pop of color to otherwise neutral card. This panel is adhered to the white card base using craft foam. A fog card base will also work here very well. I wanted a little something more to the card without adding more bulk. So I added shimmer to the negative colored pieces using Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen. I then followed it up with a few drops of Nuvo white glossy drops around the sentiment to finish off the card. So that's the card finished. Here is a close-up of the card showing the layers, shimmer and the dimension. I have more details and photos of this card as well as blog hop details on my blog. A link to my blog post is in the description box below. Please make sure to visit my blog and leave a comment to enter a chance to win. And also please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video and visit my blog. Have a lovely day. Bye.